You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a life coach, Nancy can teach you how to stay strong under pressure and work through challenges you face. Being legally blind, Nancy inspires others to be resilient in overcoming obstacles and live full out. You can ask Nancy for advice in your life on relationships, finance, business, health, and more. Just call in at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. Now, here's Nancy.
Hello and welcome to Living Full Out Show. I am Nancy Solari. So happy to be here with you today. We are going to be talking about trust. How do we trust ourselves in the decisions we make? How do we trust others after being hurt or let down? It is never too late to step into that place of confidence and knowing that however you want your life to look, it can be that way. It's going to take time. It's going to take work. But that even is true for relationships. So today we're going to be focusing on trust. We would love to hear from you if you have something heavy on your heart or your mind where you'd like to get some motivation. Call us at 800-333-0001. Also, in our next segment, we're going to be coming up with our inspirational guest, Chad Hymas. Believe it or not, a 2,000-pound barrel of hay paralyzed him. Crushed every bone in his neck. It's a story you don't want to miss. And how did that happen? You will learn that in our next segment. Also, we want to hear from you. If you have an inspirational story that you'd like to share with us, please reach out to us at connect@livingfullout.com. This community is shared in that we're all here to empower each other. So again, we'd love to hear from you. And we find that our listeners do from time to time need resources based upon the theme of the show. So if you are looking to strengthen your ability to trust others, again, you can reach out to us at connect@livingfullout.com, and then we can give you the advice, the resources that you need to move forward. Most of all, people say to me oftentimes, Nancy, I didn't catch the full interview, or I'd like to hear that caller again. Just go to livingfullout.com, and that way you can hear all of the shows. That we have them all waiting for you there, that you can listen to them over and over again or save them and play them later. But either way here, we're going to jump into the show, and I'm getting a word from our producer that we do have a caller on the line, so we're going to go say hello to them. Hi, welcome to the Living Full Out Show.
Hi there.
Hi, hi, thank you for calling in. How can we help you today?
Of course. Hi, so as an introvert, I tend to thrive and open up in more long-term relationships with fewer people. And right now I'm a college student, so it's a totally different game. There's so many people to meet in such a short period of time. And unfortunately, I've had some friends tell me that I don't make the best first impression. So I guess my question is, how can I overcome being introvert so I can put my best foot forward in every interaction and I guess meet a lot of people?
You know what? I love that you're asking this because even I am an extrovert. And right now, I'm looking to meet people because I moved recently to a new area. So whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, I think there's just a label. Okay, I would move beyond that. And what you want to figure out is what is special and unique about you? What would you say? What's one quality?
Well, I guess I'm a good listener.
Okay, so let's assume, which you most likely are, a good listener. When you don't put yourself out there and you don't connect with others and you maybe stay home at night or you don't talk to people in class, two things happen. A, you miss out on the opportunity to have a new friend. And who knows what that person's unique qualities are. Maybe they're book smart. Maybe they're text smart. Maybe they too are a good listener. Now you can have an equal sounding board. So you're going to miss out on that friendship. But secondly, that person misses out on you. Maybe you are the good listener they've been looking for. Maybe they have a lot of friends, but they're like, no one listens to me. And all of a sudden, there you are. Okay? And a true example of that even happened recently. I met a gal, a week ago, went to a live band, and it was loud, and I couldn't see anything. But I honestly met this one gal, and we connected on the phone. And literally the other day, I texted her to see if she wanted to go out to lunch. And she called me back, and she was having a hard day. But she knew, hey, I just met Nancy. She's a life coach. She'll understand, right? So here, a beautiful friendship birthed. But if I hadn't gone to listen to that band, would I have ever met her? No. So
awesome.
what do you think you can do this week what is something that you can do to kind of step out of your comfort zone to maybe meet someone new?
Well, I'm starting school next week, so I guess in class I could just maybe talk to a person in each class.
I would make it a goal that depends on how many times you have that class, 5 days a week, 2 days a week, whatever. But I would make a goal that next week you meet one new person in a class. And it's not to say that you can exchange emails and phone numbers or anything like that, but just in each class, meet one new person. Don't allow yourself to show up late or leave early or sit in your seat and not talk to anybody. Encourage yourself, not force yourself, but encourage yourself to connect with people. Is that something you can do?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much.
And see, did you hear the way you said that? Yes, definitely. The confidence. See, that's not an introvert. That's someone who is going to be somebody else's great friend. They just haven't met you yet. Okay?
Yeah, awesome. Thank you.
All right, you got it. Have a great day. Thank you.
You too. Bye.
Bye. So again, I love that she asked that question because we're talking about trust, right? Sometimes we have to trust ourselves to meet the right people and also trust that people will have our best interest at heart. I was just sharing that example with her about how I went out to go listen to that band, right? I went by myself, but I trusted that when I went to that venue, I would find the people I was looking for. This group, it's called meetup.com for anybody who's looking for new connections, new friendships. Meetup.com is in every city, and it's a great way to meet people. So we're getting another word that we have a caller in the line. We want to go and say hi to them. Hello, welcome to the Living Full Out Show.
Hi.
Hi, welcome. Hey, so how can we help you today? What's going on?
All right. So my question is, right now I'm stuck in this situation with jobs pretty much. So I started this job and I used to like it. I did. And it was a lot of fun. But now I feel like I'm over it. I'm unhappy with it now. And it's just not what it used to be. But it isn't guaranteed. I get paid every 2 weeks. But the thing is, I really am unhappy here. And I just kind of want to leave. But I haven't. It's just a little bit inconvenient right now.
There's a couple things I want to say to you because I think that a lot of people would identify with where you are. After today's show, I want you to go to livingfullout.com, go to our radio show page, and the recording of the show will be waiting there. And I want you to go back and I want you to listen to this call between you and I. Okay? And I want you to pretend like you don't know yourself. And what advice would you give yourself listening to hear you ask that question? Okay? And I think sometimes it's really interesting to hear ourselves. And the reason why I want you to do that is because whenever we have a challenge, it is sometimes helpful to turn it around and say, what if somebody else is bringing me this advice? What would I say to them? And the reason why I bring that up to you is because the answer is truly already in your heart. Okay? So is this the only job that pays every 2 weeks?
No.
No. In fact, most jobs pay every 2 weeks. Lots of jobs pay every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
In fact, our world has surged out there so much that there's jobs where you can go to an office, you can go to a restaurant, you can work from home. So I want you to not feel limited by all these beautiful options waiting for you. Secondly,
I do want to explore and further see what I can do, what are my options. But there's just also things with family where it makes sense just to stay at Target right now. But I just feel like I'm wasting my time there, to be honest.
And I got to tell you, I love Target. I'm a fan. Okay, I shop there. I love it. But here's the thing. There will always be family challenges. And if it's not family, it'll be school. And if it's not school, it'll be career. And if it's not career, it'll be relationships. And so, again, life is too short to feel limited. There's a study that was done a long time ago about fleas. They put some fleas in a jar and they put the lid on. And the fleas would jump up and down, and they only jumped as high as that lid. When they took the lid off, the fleas only jumped as high as where the lid was. They were trained not to jump further. So you want to think about taking that lid off, but don't be that flea, because you can jump further. You can go online, you can look for career tests that will help guide you into what you'd like to do. Just throw some resumes out there and see what naturally comes your way. But you know what?
Yeah.
Again, the answer's inside you, and I would not limit yourself. Life is too short, and you're a living full out kind of gal. I can tell. Okay?
Right.
Trust yourself.
Yeah.
You'll be fine. But thank you so much for calling in, and we'll be thinking about you during this transition. Okay?
All right. Cool. Thank you for your advice.
You're welcome. Have a great day. And when we come back, we're going to be joined by our inspirational guest, Chad Hymas. Again, 2,000-pound barrel of hay coming at him. Amazing. How do you do that? So stay with us. We'll be right back after this break on Nancy Solari, This is the Living Full Out Show.
Dad, this is fun. I didn't think I liked kayaking.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it, but I think it's time to head back in.
Okay. Can we come back?
Sure.
Tomorrow?
Let's check with Mom. Hey, be careful getting out of the boat.
It's a kayak, Dad.
I'm going to return the kayak. Just make sure you have everything.
Yep. Can we walk home?
How about a taxi? 233 North Maple, please.
It's a short fare from your neighborhood to your naturehood. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a neighborhood park or green space near you. Also, find fun activities to do like boating and biking or camping and hiking, plus much more. It's all right in your naturehood.
Best day ever.
A public service announcement brought to you by the Ad Council and the U.S. Forest Service.
Don't you wish that getting your child to eat right, move more, and spend less time in front of a screen could be as easy as pushing a button? It might not be that simple, but you do have more power than you know. And you can maximize that power with proven strategies, tips, and tools from the National Institutes of Health's We Can, or Ways to Enhance Children's Activity and Nutrition program. We Can offers all kinds of resources, including fun recipes and activities the family can do together to show you the way to live a healthier lifestyle. We're not saying it's easy. We are saying that it can be done. Take the first step today. Call 1-866-359-3226 for a free We Can Parents Handbook. And be sure to visit the We Can website at wecan.nhlbi.nih.gov for free information too. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Today, my new dad and I shot off a rocket in the park.
Today, my new son and I failed to shoot off a rocket.
He knew exactly what to do.
It's not I had no clue what I was doing.
We set up the rocket.
Hit ignition.
And then
nothing. Sometimes I laugh when I'm frustrated.
Then out of nowhere, the rocket launched into the air.
The rocket did get into the air.
I've never seen anything fly so high.
And then crashed into a kite. Look out! Look out! And then the pond.
I'll never forget that day.
I'll never forget that day, even if I tried.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are. For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
When I was little, I didn't talk for a long time. I liked things to always be the same. Anything new or different would scare and upset me. I was very sensitive to lights and sounds. It was almost like I had bigger eyes and ears than everyone else. So I built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. I didn't like looking people in the eye. It made me feel uncomfortable. I'd throw big tantrums over little things like when my socks didn't match. Sometimes I'd do the same things over and over. Until one day, I found out I had autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I learned how to live with it better.
You can see signs of autism in children as young as 18 months. Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. With Nancy's expertise, you'll learn how to embrace your potential and strive for success. If you have a question or need further support, send us an email at connect@livingfullout.com. Now, here's Nancy.
Welcome back to the Living Full Out Show. I am Nancy Solari, and today we are talking about trust. Well, what happens when life turns upside down? Everything we knew we could count on in life just fades away. How do we trust ourselves? How do we trust the people in our life and that it's all going to be okay? Our inspirational guest today, Chad Hymas, is no stranger to needing to trust himself and others. A 2,000-pound barrel of hay crushed the bones in his neck one day. Imagine that pressure. Imagine the pain. Now, Chad's going to share with us his story, and he did not crumble. He did not just cave in to all the rehabilitation that had to come months and years later. He thrived. In fact, I would go to say that he's an amazing version of a person. Maybe not a better person. I think he was great as he was before the accident, but you'll see what I mean. He is a shining star. So I'd very much like to welcome Chad to the show.
Hi, Nancy. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I mean it. You are awesome. And the audience will understand at the end of the whole story here. But Chad, can you take us back to the time of the accident? And I think it is important for us to all understand. The day before the accident, Chad and his wife had an argument. You know, we all have arguments. But, you know, we don't know that the next day there's going to be a life-altering accident. So can you just, briefly share with us about that, the day before and the day of the accident?
Sure. So just for point of clarification, it was her fault, the argument. As long as we're clear on that, Nancy, we can proceed.
Women can't live with them, can't live without them. I get it.
Yeah,
yep.
Right. So, no, it's true. We had an argument. And the reason why that is so significant is because Shondell and I had always made a promise not to go to sleep and not be on at least talking terms or good terms. And I remember that night it didn't happen that way. It was she was really unhappy with me and rightfully so. For whatever reason, it was so small now that I don't even remember that it was that important. But the truth is, I remember that we weren't happy. That's why the next day is so important. That day, the day of the accident, I did send her some flowers from work, and when I heard some of our songs come on the country radio station that I had playing in my truck because I was driving from job to job, I would hurry and call her and have her go to 93.3 FM or 100.4 FM or whatever it might be, and she journalized that since the accident. So that was a special day, and then she had called me back, and I thought she was calling me to send me a song, when in fact she was calling with some better news, and that was that our son, our youngest son, we had two, the Ace is 3 and Kyler was 1 at the time. Kyler had just taken his first couple steps, and so that was the beginning of this whole process, and to where the accident occurred. She asked me if I could hurry home to play ball with the kids. So I would never see Shondell again. Aside from the argument the day before, until after I would wake up from a coma three weeks later. So to get into the day of the accident, again, sending her flowers that day and sending music back and forth. She called me up, asked me to hurry home. I, in my angst to get home and see her and apologize face to face and see the flowers I sent and also play ball with the kids, I decided to stop by the family farm and feed the elk first so I wouldn't have to go back out that night. And I got on a tractor, and as you mentioned in your introduction, I did load up a bale of hay that weighs more than most SUV vehicles. And I saw the red flashing light on my dashboard. It was an indicator that my hydraulic tank was low. It was empty. I ignored the red light, and knowing that I could make it work because I'd done it that way before in the past, there wasn't enough hydraulic in the hoses to hold the bale in place. So when I put the tractor in reverse, with the bale up in the air 15 feet, and I hit the brakes, momentum shifted with the bale. The bale broke free from the forks up high, toppled over those forks, and landed on my body while I was sitting in the tractor. And that's what put my head to the steering wheel, and I broke all 7 bones in my neck. That's what took place.
Now, Chad, I'm just taking that in because I can't even imagine the pain, the pressure. Were you alert? I mean, after this happened, how long was it before help came?
So I was alert. I was fully conscious. I had no feeling in my body, and the only pain that I could feel, Nancy, was the pain of not being able to breathe. I was struggling for every breath. I'll try and make this not gruesome, but yet picturesque enough for our audience to hear and picture in their mind. The shaft of the steering wheel is what went through my mouth. So the steering column itself broke with that amount of pressure. And so the shaft is what went through my mouth, and it broke everything in its place. My mouth has been reconstrued, reconfigured with teeth and all that. But 95% of my spinal cord was severed, and all 7 bones were broken. And I was fully conscious. I was found, they figure, 48 minutes after that occurred. And they come up with that number based on the time that the sun set from the time that the 911 call came in. I believe that I was there a little bit longer because there was no headlights on my tractor, and I would have turned headlights on my tractor had I been working in the dark. So I tried to get home early. I got there before the sun went in. So that kind of gives you an idea of the time frame.
No, that's super helpful. And the thing is given those injuries, I mean, it took 48 minutes for help to come, but could that have ended your life that day if help hadn't come? If it had been any later? Or how long do you think you could have survived like that?
I wasn't thinking I was going to make it when Shondell left. So Shondell found me. She's the one that came looking for me. And when she disappeared again, she didn't know I was alive. I was alive. All she knew was the tractor was running and she was screaming. And when she left, when I saw the headlights disappear, she was going back to get help. She was going back to call for help. I didn't think I was going to make it. I was struggling. I was coming in and out of consciousness. I remember that. I remember feeling very dizzy, lightheaded, but no pain. I mean, I couldn't feel my tongue. I couldn't feel my mouth. I couldn't feel anything other than I was sucking in air through the blood pockets in my nose. And that's how the doctors say I was able to survive. I believe today there was more to it than that, but maybe that's another story.
Well, you know what? We are going to get to that. And the thing is I think telling us that moment is so important because in that moment, when you're starting to fade away, that's when you need that fight. That's when you need to trust yourself and all that you're living for because you needed to hang on. And I do believe the body is super powerful in its ability to survive and to hang in there. And, when we come back, Chad, I really want to dive into more about, that day when the help did come, because everybody picture this 2,000 barrel of hay. How did they even get that off of him? How did they even get him the help he needs? It's an amazing story. So, Chad, will you stay with us?
Absolutely.
Wonderful. And, everybody listening during the show, for Chad, it was the accident and his recovery to get to where he is today. For you, it may be a broken heart or frustrations with life's ups and downs. We can get through it together, but it is about trusting yourself and those in your life. But it's never too late to live full out. That's the great news. So I want you to stay with us because we'll be coming back shortly, continuing our interview with Chad. I am Nancy Solari. This is the Living Full Out Show. Stay tuned.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari.
There are many sounds in your day-to-day life. There are sounds that wake you up. Sounds that make you smile. Sounds that energize you. And sounds that help you relax. But there are some sounds that can alert you to danger and can help save lives. Wireless emergency alerts, now on many mobile devices, use a unique sound and vibration to bring you information about severe weather events, Amber Alerts, or other emergencies in your area. With critical information from local sources you know and trust, you can be in the know, wherever you are. For more information, visit ready.gov/alerts. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Keyboard Cat, Hamilton the Pug, and Toast Meets World. These are some of the internet's most beloved pets. With millions of YouTube views, shares, Instagram likes, followers, and fans across the globe. But what do all these amazing pets have in common? Their stories started in a shelter. Start your story. Adopt a dog or cat today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a shelter or adoptable pets near you. Training that pet to play the keyboard? Well, that's entirely up to you. Visit theshelterpetproject.org and hear more about Hamilton the Pug, Toast, and Keyboard Cat's amazing adoption stories. Start a story. Adopt a shelter or rescue pet today. Your perfect pet is just a click away at theshelterpetproject.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
As an 18-year-old, I let my mistakes kind of take over my life. I was 0.5 credits away from completing high school, and I didn't do it.
10 years later, at age 28, Jackie finished her high school diploma.
When I found out that I was pregnant, I know that I had to do something for myself if I wanted to make her a better person and provide a better life for her. My family never stopped pushing for me to be better because they knew what I could become and who I could become as a person. My support team is amazing. The educational director, my sister, and even my 7-year-old daughter has just been more than the support that I could ask for. I've been given an opportunity, and I'm just thankful for it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
What if I could tell you that a full-blown wildfire was going to occur tomorrow right where you live? Tell you exactly which neighborhoods it would engulf and how fast it would do it. The first thing you would do is talk with your loved ones and make a plan today. It's true, I can't tell you a wildfire will strike tomorrow, but shouldn't you make a plan anyway? Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait. Communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a life coach, Nancy can teach you how to stay strong under pressure and work through challenges you face. Being legally blind, Nancy inspires others to be resilient in overcoming obstacles and live full out. You can ask Nancy for advice in your life on relationships, finance, business, health, and more. Just call in at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. Now, here's Nancy.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Nancy Solari, and this is the Living Full Out Show. And today we're talking about trusting others in our lives and how do we do that? And most of all, our inspirational guest today, who we're in the middle of an interview with, Chad Hymas, is telling us about how a 2,000-pound barrel of hay came crashing at him and crushed the bones in his neck and went on to, have him become a paraplegic. But I'll tell you what, everybody, he is not a man limited by being able to do things physically with his body. His mind is powerful and his vision is strong and he has a heart of gold. So let's jump back into our interview. Hi, Chad.
Hi.
Now, I just want our guest to understand something. A 2,000-pound barrel of hay, what would you equate that to, just so they could really visualize that?
A small SUV, a Tahoe, an Enclave. That's what that is.
Coming right at you. And you lived obviously in a farm area, and so there aren't necessarily paramedics and police that come racing your way, but there are cowboys. And when your wife made that call, cowboys came running. But again, there must have been only 5 or 6 of them to help. I mean, that 2,000 pounds where did they find the strength to even get that off of you?
I've been asked that many times. I don't know that I have the right answer. Perhaps the answer, Nancy, lies in several right answers. But you're absolutely right. We don't have firefighters. We do have cowboys. So when Shondell made that 911 call into the city, dispatch was dispersed in our country cowboy town, and 5 cowboys did show up within 12 minutes, along with 3 Utah state troopers, and they had no hoist or no tractor. And those 8 men together, after they were trying to figure out what to do and how to get that bale off me, and they knew that I was alive, they could see that with their flashlights. They all together lifted that bale up. That's 400 pounds each deadlift. They lifted that bale up straight off my body, and you asked that question, how were they able to do that? And several things we could talk about. I'm not against divine nature. I'm not against that. That's definitely something that I have learned to trust in more when you talk about trust on our topic in our show today. I've also thought about teamwork. If just one person falls out of that formation, everybody else carries the rest of that burden. So I think when we talk about trust and trusting in our homes and our families and our marriages, if just one person breaches that trust, it's very difficult, and other people have to bear the burden, or they're hurt by that breach of trust. And so I'm grateful that all 8 men were worked together as a team. They were all on the same page. They all trusted each other. The final thing that I would say, and not limited to this, but definitely not excluded, would be adrenaline. And I love to talk about that, because I think when adrenaline kicks in, that kicks in something that you and I begin to do things we never thought that we could do. It allows us to cover up our own pain, adrenaline does, and go help somebody when they're trapped in a car, not even feeling our own knuckles when we're breaking the glass of their windows because we're trying to save their life. We don't feel that adrenaline. So those guys, I believe, were adrenalized that night and used more strength than what they normally thought they could have had or would have had, and they were able to lift that bale off my body.
And thankfully,
that would be my answer to you, Nancy. I hope that satisfies your question.
Oh, it does. And it was just such a massive amount of weight. I mean, thank you for answering that. Now, I do want to jump to when you're at the hospital. Okay. I know they airlifted you and you got to the hospital, and there was a pivotal moment between you and your dad. And I want to just talk briefly about that, because we only have a couple minutes to talk about this, but it was, your dad who came in and gave you a lot of good news. He was also the one to give you the bad news, but he was also the one to say, where you go from here is up to you. Can you share with us about that?
Yeah, he did tell me the good news first, and that was that I was still alive, amongst a few other things, that my family was all there in the waiting room. I think it's also important to point out that he wouldn't let anybody else tell me. I think about the trust in yourself. I mean, Dad and I are best friends. I even get teared up thinking about it. It's been 17 years. I have boys myself, and I don't think I could muster up that kind of courage. But that said, the bad news was that I had lost everything from the armpits down, and I lost everything from the elbow to the fingertips. So that is called a quadriplegic, because you lost all 4. And then he did tell me that he expected me to be a better father, a better husband, and he wanted me to be a better basketball coach and also a better cowboy myself. And I called his bluff right then and there. And he walked out of the room and came back in and told me the reason why he walked out of the room wasn't because I said profane language or anything like that, but he walked out because I demonstrated behavior that was unteachable. And he said if I was going to be a better person, that I would have to lose enough pride to trust him enough in what he was saying to be a teachable person. And that one simple truth that I just shared with you and all of our audience members has probably saved this young man's life. Learning to trust and believe in something that I have not seen, but that I have hope for. And that is hope for a better tomorrow. For our listeners that have gone through other paralysis forms in their life, divorce, loss of a child, an aging parent, struggles with your own health, the trust in a better tomorrow and that things can be better. That one principle has saved my life and transformed it into something I never dreamed of, which I would not change today.
You know what? Explaining that, Chad, honestly, it feels like a warm blanket you just put around my shoulders, because I really get that. That's very powerful. And And we all have that ability, like your dad to you, to be that for someone else. And so I'm glad that he was that source of strength for you. Now, I want you to share with our audience the amount of rehabilitation that came later. The days, the weeks, the months, the years. What did you have to relearn how to do?
Everything from the basic functions of life. I mean, as a baby growing up, things you don't even remember. Do you remember when you first were able to wean yourself off of diapers? I mean, I went through that all over again. Learning a different way to use the restroom, and I'm not hooked up to any tube. Learning that I needed to watch and monitor what I eat because that affected the other. But even just the more obvious ones, learning how to court my spouse and dance with her, even though I couldn't stand up. Remember, she sent me songs that day. Learning that I could hold her hand and I didn't have to feel it as long as she could feel my hand. Learning that intimacy wasn't just about me, but more about her. And probably the most important one for me, Nancy, just playing some catch with my boys. Learning that I could play catch with them without the use of my hands and figuring that out, along with everything else, brushing teeth, getting dressed, shaving, all of which I do today on my own as I travel the world alone. For my line of work, I travel the world a lot and do all that on my own, using new techniques and new kinds of clothing and different things of that nature and different ways to get around. I travel the world by myself. So I relearned everything from driving to trusting other people for their help when I'm by myself, trusting complete strangers to get me from point A to point B, and knowing and meeting lots of good people. I'm never alone as I travel to different countries and different states within the U.S. I'm never alone. So it's
when you look
after my life.
Completely, and that's why you're in our show about trust. I thought that was the perfect thing for you today. But and thank you for sharing so many things that you had to relearn and figure out new ways to do things. And I know learning how to breathe was one of your hardest things. I know learning how to get dressed. I think you said that takes you 2 hours. But you know what I love about you? You didn't just rely on having to do things the way you did them before. You switched it up. You got creative. And so that is definitely to be admired. What do you think was the biggest thing that got you through it? I mean, I know trusting people and all of that, but when you talk about adrenaline, when you talk about resilience or being courageous, if somebody who's listening to the show today and they just cannot muster that fight, they don't even know how to find that surge of energy, what would you say to them?
I would say to them that trust their instincts, their intuition. I'm not here to preach religion to people, and I'm not a spiritual pastor by any means. But I have learned that I don't have to see things to believe that there's something out there that is bigger than me, that has a greater vision for my purpose. And I used to think that my purpose was to be a farmer. That's why I was on the tractor that day. And I have come to find out that I don't have to be confined to my farm to be a farmer. I've been to all 7 continents and 52 of God's countries, sharing my message in the last 17 years. That's a big farm, Nancy. And I don't have to wear cowboy boots anymore or Wrangler jeans to be a farmer, to be a cowboy. And I used to think that the acreage that I was on, was a lot of acreage. I just think that there's a lot more out there. And so if our listeners could, if they could be open-minded enough that without just sounding preachy, because that's not how I want it to come across, I think they need to learn to trust their instincts, their intuition, and realize that what they have in mind for their future might not always be in their best interest, although they think it is at the time. I would never give up what I have done the last 17 years, even if I'm not walking again. Now, that doesn't mean I'll miss it. But that'll take care of itself.
You know what? I love it, and what you just said is so applicable to where everybody is in their lives and what they're dealing with. So, I want to thank you so much today for sharing with us, the accident, all the rehabilitation afterwards, but more so just basking in the love and the friends, the family, what we do have, because you just never know. Life is just so short. You just got to live every day. And I know you are such a good example of living full out. I mean, nothing stops you, Chad. You're going around the world and back. You know, you're doing it. You're a father. You're a career man. And so for that, I am giving you a round of applause because I think you're awesome. And I'm proud of you.
Thanks, Nan.
Mainly.
Thank you for having me.
Okay. Absolutely. And so thank you for being on our show today. And everybody, when we come back, again, we're going to be taking your calls. You know, Chad brought up so many great suggestions today for how we can strengthen our lives. And so now we're going to bring it back around to you. If you're dealing with a challenge, you're at a crossroad in life and you want some support, call in. Let us help you out. Let us get you to where you are living your life full out. I am Nancy Solari. This, of course, is the Living Full Out Show. And I want you to stay with us. We'll be coming back right after this break. Stay tuned. And we'll see you soon.
Well, Jason, I've got to tell you, you're pretty much everything this company is looking for in an entry-level candidate.
Great.
Your resume isn't quite what we're used to, but you've got a fantastic work ethic.
Thank you.
And I'm impressed by how you carry yourself.
So, should we talk about the job?
What? The job? Oh, sorry. Yeah, I have no way of recruiting or even meeting you. This interview didn't happen.
It may sound ridiculous, and that's because it kind of is. There's a huge pool of talent your company is missing out on. Meet the grads of life. Who are they? Talent worth knowing about. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
Man, we really could have used him.
Don't miss out on a resource many innovative companies have already discovered. Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
The following message is about Medicaid and CHIP, free or low-cost health coverage for kids and teens. Enrollment is open year-round.
Hey, voice lady, give me the mic.
Okay.
Hey, DJ, let's switch up the music. That's better. So listen up, moms and dads out there. There are these programs called Medicaid and CHIP. They offer free or low-cost health coverage for kids. Things like doctor and dentist visits, prescriptions, and shots are covered. All the stuff that keeps kids like me healthy and in charge.
So, as you can tell, a covered kid is a confident kid. And it means confident parents, too. To learn more about affordable health coverage for your family, visit healthcare.gov or call 1-877-KIDS-NOW. That's 1-877-543-7669.
Yep, you could do something big for your family today because enrollment is open year-round.
This has been a message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
And Sophia.
They're gonna jump out of trees. You can't stop them. They'll go down the slide head first. They'll make parachutes out of sheets. They'll balance on things that are impossible to balance on, like the back of a couch or a windowsill or a scooter seat. They'll run with sharp objects. They'll run into walls. They'll climb things that won't hold their weight. They'll put their fingers in places where they could get smashed. They'll drive their tricycles down steep hills. They'll bounce balls off their faces. They'll step on each other. They'll jump on each other. They'll invent whole new ways to put themselves in jeopardy. But one of the most dangerous things kids will do happens while they're sitting perfectly still. Kids who ride in a car without a booster seat are much more likely to suffer serious or fatal injury during a crash than kids in boosters. But amazingly, 80% of all kids who need them aren't in them. After a toddler seat and until they're 4'9", booster kids, and don't let them down.
Go to boosterseat.gov to learn more about the importance of boosters. A message from the U.S. Department of Transportation and the Ad Council.
Hey, Nick Cannon here. So we all know we've got a lot of talent in America. But unfortunately, there's something else we've got way too much of. Childhood hunger. 17 million kids struggle with it in this country. That's why the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks gather surplus food to give hope to hungry kids and their families. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
A message from Feeding America and the Ad Council.
We're your pets, and this song's dedicated to those people who don't have health insurance yet. Enroll, we say, we want you to be okay. Enroll, we say, take care, people, for goodness sake.
Health insurance is now affordable and covers prescriptions, hospitalizations, and preventive care. Visit getcoveredamerica.org to learn more.
And take care, people.
Brought to you by Get Covered America and the Ad Council.
Is a large part of what it means to live full out. It's not always easy. It comes with confidence, feeling secure within yourself, but it's something that can be learned, something that can be achieved. Never get up. The thing is you want to make sure that you put yourself out there. You trust the people in your life with what's going on, what you need. That's what living full out is all about.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. Nancy is here as a guide to show you how to rise above obstacles and savor each moment. If you have a question, call in live at 800-333-0001. That's 800-333-0001. And now, here's Nancy.
Welcome back to the show. I'm Nancy Solari, and this is the Living Full Out show. And, talking about trust today, even hearing Chad's interview and callers we've had so far, even within me, it stirred a lot of memories that I've had about my need to trust people. And so I want you all to know that I get you. We've all been there, right? We all have that uncomfortable time where we have to take that leap of faith. And so I want you to consider, what leap of faith are you going to take today, this week, to trust another person, let them in to what's going on in your life. Now, I'm getting a word from our producer that we have another caller on the line. We're going to say hello to them. Hi, welcome to the Living Full Out show.
Hey, Nancy, how you doing today?
I am great. Thank you for calling in. How can we help you?
Well, so my question is, it's 2018, I don't have a wife or even a girlfriend in the picture. And so I was wondering, what are women looking for nowadays for men?
Oh, that's a good question. And, I love that you just come out there and ask it. I don't think it's a big, broad women thing. Think about it this way. Fortunately and unfortunately, chemistry cannot be found on every corner, right? Unfortunately, you have to date around to find that person that you can laugh with, that gets your jokes, but also can be a sounding board when you need it. But the good news is I don't think there's only one soulmate for everybody either. I know that I've loved in my life, and I will continue to love. And so what you want to do is, it's not about what the women want. I want you to focus on what you want. When you really consider the relationships that you've had, whether they've been recent or in the past, or maybe if you look at people in your life who have spouses or girlfriends, and look at the qualities that you admire, what you would want, and start to keep those qualities near and dear in your heart. Don't lose track of them, because what does happen is people go out, and not in a desperate place, but just because they don't have those qualities crystallized in their mind, they kind of settle, or they make exceptions. And so that's why I want you to kind of put in your mind, what does she look like? Now, be ready for the unexpected too, because again, there's the old saying, opposites attract, right? You can have a desired list of qualities. Sometimes it's the unexpected qualities that you will find the most endearing, the most attractive. And they won't even have made your list because this woman is so unique. What do you think one quality is? What's one thing that's really important to you? Like a must-have?
It's probably family. Family's a really big thing to me, and if she doesn't really like being around family, that's a big deal to me.
Okay, so that's what you want to lead with. Whether you're writing an online profile, whether you're talking to someone on the phone or via text, lead with that. Ask her about her family. Share with her about yours. See if she even asks questions that you would hope she would ask, about your family. That should be your guide. Now, do you want to have your own family?
Oh, of course, one day.
Okay. So did you hear that word? Of course. So again, you don't want to beat around the bush. You want to put yourself right out there. Say, I love family. And you know what? I'd love to have a family. And here's the good news. There are women who are just craving a guy like you because they want the same thing. Then there's going to be other women who don't want kids, or maybe family isn't a big thing to them, and maybe they'd like to just travel the world, or maybe they're career-minded. Good to find that out early. So the exciting news about this whole thing is that you have the ability to find her. And even if you date somebody and they have some of those qualities and it doesn't work out, it doesn't mean that you won't still find that ideal mate. Just be open. Trust these women to come into your life. Most of all, trust yourself to hold on to those qualities of family and having your own family. And don't worry about scaring her off, because the right woman, that will be like music to her ears for you to say that. Do you see that?
Oh, of course. That's really amazing advice.
Yeah. So you know what? Like I said, I think you're awesome. And I want you to put yourself out there. I don't know how you're dating. Online, via apps. There's lots of apps these days. Or, just going out and letting fate take a hand. But I would encourage you this week to do one of those options if you're not already. Because the women who haven't met you yet, wow, they can't wait. Okay? Thank you so much for calling in, and we wish you all the best.
All right. Thank you, Nancy. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. So, wow, I can't believe it's the end of the show. It always goes so fast. But I think the big thing that we've all got, and I've got it today too, is that we just have to put ourselves out there. And always remember that a lot of the answers to what you want in life, what you need, it's already inside you. You just have to be willing to courageously pull that out and express yourself and open up to others. When you do that, you're not only trusting others, you're not just trusting yourself, but you're putting out there to the universe that my life is worth it and I'm going to go for it. And I promise you this, if you do, if you energetically give life all you have and all you want, then great things will come your way. And when you have those off days, guess what? Call us, because we'll always be here for you. The entire Living Full Out family wants to thank you. Roger, Rich, Kelly, and on and on and on. We have so many people who adore you. See you next week. Here's to you living full out.
Thank you for listening to the Living Full Out Show with Nancy Solari. To learn more about this program, visit livingfullout.com for the latest episodes. Connect with the Living Full Out community by following us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and subscribing to our YouTube channel. If you have an inspirational story you want to share, email us at connect@livingfullout.com. Here's to you, living full out.